London Uncovered. As we are moving on to a new episode, and today we are talking about the love languages. Yes, they say love truly makes the whole world go round. It strikes across a crowded room, sweeps up off our feet, makes fools rush where angels fear to tread. And we also often hear people say, I love tea, I love coffee, I love football, and I love you. In the English language, the word love can mean so many different things, and we can see that there are millions of ways people say, I love you. And amazingly enough, there's a thing called a love language. There are 5 love languages discovered by a counselor, Dr. Gary Chapman, in 1992. He found that couples were not feeling loved despite their partners believing they were doing all the right things for them. He found 5 consistent patterns how one received love from others. These are words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, acts of service, and receiving gifts. Words of affirmation, it means that saying supportive things to your partner, like well done, great job, look attractive, I'm proud of you. Acts of service, doing helpful things for your partner, like doing chores, running an errand, or taking care of something without being asked. Receiving gifts, giving gifts to your partner to tell them that you are thinking about them. Quality time, spending meaningful time with your partner, like date nights, going to the theater, going for trips together, or having a heart-to-heart conversation. Physical touch, being close and caressed by your partner, like holding hands, kissing, hugging, and sitting close together. By learning to give love in the ways one can best receive it, and by asking your partner to give the same love in ways that you can receive it, we can create stronger relationships. And one poet puts it beautifully when she says, my love language is looking at the moon with you on an early cold morning. My love language is cutting up strawberries, picking up leaves, and handing them to you in a small bowl. My love language is long hugs and late nights cuddled up under a warm blanket. My love language is soft kisses and longing looks, pinky promises, and whisper, I love yous. So let's go and see what people have to say about it. Tell us, what does love languages mean to you?
The love languages, I think, are a really nice way for people to see how much somebody may be loving them in their life, even though they may not be using words. It started as a book to help generally women who were fed up with their husbands who didn't seem to love them, but also husbands who were feeling that their wives didn't love them. And what the book tells you is to say it's not just about words. Look at how somebody loves you in their actions. Do they pay the bills? Do they shine your shoes? Do they go out at 6 o'clock in the morning to walk the dog, leaving you lying in bed? So there's many ways to show love, and the bouquet of roses and the card and whatever, that's secondary. Who is taking the dog out at 6 a.m. or who is working the extra hours to make sure you can pay your gas bill?
So how does it work?
So the book, the Languages of Love, helps you identify the different ways that people may be loving you, but also helps you to realise how you yourself want to be loved. So an example in my own life, I like buying presents, and I used to buy a lot of presents for my wife, and it has only dawned on me recently that actually presents aren't the primary way that she really likes to receive things. What she likes is trips and events. She likes somebody to plan and think ahead, and then to have the fun, because she's an extrovert and she likes the sensation of something new. Whereas for me, I don't particularly like presents. Again, I like to choose, but I don't like to receive. But the thing that really gets me is compliments. I was a bit starved of compliments in my childhood, and so when somebody says, "Oh, that was great," it really, really means a lot to me. Whereas my wife had loads of compliments in her childhood, and therefore that language to her is just not that important. So we've had to learn that we actually like to be loved in slightly different ways.
What message would you give to the world, Peter?
I think I would say, try and understand that other people are different from you, and they might like to be loved in a different way. But understand yourself. How would you really like to be loved? What gives you that feeling of being loved? And it's okay to ask for it. It's okay to say, actually, this is what makes me me.
Peter, once again, thank you very much.
No problem.
It's been a pleasure. Tell us, what does love languages mean to you?
It means different people having different ways that they receive love. So some people really like to get gifts, but some people don't care about gifts. They care about being spoken to kindly.
How does it work?
Well, a lot of people think other people receive love in the same way they do. Some people just like to be kind of hugged, and other people don't like that. And so people who make that assumption when they're in relationships can lead to the partner feeling neglected and vice versa. So it's really worthwhile understanding love languages, and in particular the love language of your partner, so you can give them love in the way that they feel it and enhance your relationship.
What message would you give to the world, Ben?
I would say invest in your relationships. Come to understand yourself and come to understand other people, and engage with them in the ways that they would want to be engaged with.
Ben, thank you once again.
Thank you, Sanjay. Bless you.
Tell us, what does love languages mean to you?
So love languages are all about reading your partner, reading your loved ones, and appreciating that not everyone experiences love and feels love in the same way that you might. So if you, for example, value spending lots of time with a loved one, and that doesn't necessarily mean that your loved one feels the most love in that way. They might feel love through gifts or through some other particular love languages, as they're often called.
So what one can do about it?
I think talking with your partner again and asking them, what makes you feel really good, what makes you feel really valued, and then reacting and changing your behavior accordingly is a really good place to start.
What message would you give to the world?
Talk with your partner. Be honest with each other, and you can't go wrong if you do that.
Once again, you're amazing. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Tell us, what does love languages mean to you?
Yeah, so I would say that the language of love is how we express our love for people. People do it in different ways. My mum, for example, typical Nigerian African woman. She was very hard on all of us because she was a single parent. So she expressed her love by buying us things, not necessarily saying that she loved us, but we knew that she did. Occasionally she would say it. And also because she suffered from a debilitating mental illness as well. I think she found it hard to express her love for us. For other people, it might be, saying that you love somebody and making them feel that love, in a different way. So I think everybody expresses their love for their partner, for their children, for their friends and their general family in different ways, and that's what makes the language of love so interesting.
So how does it work?
So for me, because I was brought up in such a strict environment, although I knew my mum loved me, the way that I have interpreted love is different from my mum. So my girlfriend and I, when I first met her, I wouldn't say I was infatuated with her, but I knew that I had a strong physical attraction to her. Then we started dating, and then funnily enough, we both said that we loved each other around about the same time, and it was quite liberating to find that, because I've been in relationships with people where that my partner's expressed love for me, and I haven't felt the same way, and that's what I mean. So I think the way that we interpret our love for each other is formulated by our upbringing, I think, a lot of the time, and I think that's how we live our lives, by that influence. And for me, that's been the case, definitely.
What message would you give to the world, Tom?
All you need is love, and I'd rather make love, not war. So that's what I would say.
Tom, as always, you're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjay.
As we come to the end of this episode, and we've been talking about the love languages, and we have seen that if we want to build healthy relationships, we have to work at it. We have to tell our partner what makes them feel loved, and at the same time, we have to let the partner know what we love. This is how we can love and use the love languages to improve the quality of our relationships. Love language is often misunderstood for some people because they think receiving gifts can be a sort of greedy thing, because for them the recipient is more focused on the gift than the thought behind it. But we all know the phrase that we have been told since childhood: attention is more important than a gift, and a gift may not be tangible.